Pokémon, the highest grossing media franchise, literally, of all time, beating the likes of Mario, Hello Kitty, and even the MCU. From trading cards to plushies, there's so much where Pokémon manages to earn its money. Arguably, the main aspect of the franchise are the games. Pokémon games are released a lot and frequently, from their main games to spin-offs, which are typically classified into generations. And that's what leads me to today's video, the 8th generation. The generation that brought this main Pokémon game to the world, Pokémon Sword and Shield. As a patient gamer, I got to the game around half a year after its release, and completed it right around the midpoint of 2020, and basically I completed the whole game like once I got it, and just now decided to make a video on it now, because I only started making YouTube videos recently. And this is the main game of this generation, it needs to highlight it, right? So, do I recommend Pokémon Sword and Shield? Yes, but only if you really want to stay up to date on Pokémon or haven't played a Pokémon game for a multitude of years. So, let's get into it. Pokémon Sword and Shield are set in the Galar region, a region based on the United Kingdom but flipped upside down. You are, you guessed it, a kid who wants to explore the world of Pokémon, catch Pokémon, train them, and fill up your Pokédex because that's what the professor tells you to, which is the typical Pokémon intro. The usual Pokémon formula is, well, Pokémon. However, I do have one issue with the intro of this game, and that is the characters. Do keep in mind, I haven't played Sun Moon, so I've heard of the flaws there, but I don't know about it because I haven't played it. But here, your main rival, Hop, is a weak character. Usually your rival is meant to be a rival that motivates you to push forward and beat him. Gary and Barry, that rhymed unintentionally, are prime examples of good rivals, hot-headed and are competent trainers. After your first battle with Hop, you realize that he's got no clue how to train a Pokemon. Yes, I know the prime demographic of Pokemon is for children, but I still believe that you can at least make Hop a little bit more intimidating and competent. Leon, Hop's older brother, who is also the champion of the game, of the region, is a well-designed character. Cool design and well-written for a Pokemon game. The starter Pokemon are also important on making a good first impression. Sabo looks like he doesn't want to be a Pokemon, Scorbunny is full of joy, and as a grass-type lover, Grookey is the best. Overall, this trio is very good, better than the starters of Gen 6, but weak compared to the likes of Gen 3. Now for Legendaries. Sometimes you encounter a Legendary in the intro, like Gen 4 where you encounter one of the Lake Trios, but here you literally meet the legendary box art Pokemon within minutes. Not only does it come so soon and sudden, but they try to hide it by making it into a really obviously looking silhouette. For me, it takes away the looming power and the grace that the legendaries are meant to portray. I know Pokemon introductions shouldn't be too complex as it is simply Pokemon, but I feel like this game's premise comes up short compared to previous entries. But hey, this is still Pokemon and there is 20 hours plus of story left, and even more hours left if you go with the usual Pokemon stuff. Now for gameplay, and I need to mention one thing before we can dissect the rest of the game. The National Dex issue is not a big issue at all. People complain a lot about the lack of their favorite Pokemon, and honestly it's not too bad. There's still hundreds of Pokemon out there and you can still make a great team and get to know new ones as well. I think that it is kind of unrealistic to keep having all the Pokemon in every single game because it's just going to be too much and overwhelming at one point. Yeah, some critiques are justified due to the Switch being a better console than the 3DS and can handle more Pokemon, but in the end, there's still hundreds upon hundreds of Pokemon, and something I will talk about later, the DLC does help with this Pokemon issue. As for pure gameplay, battles are the same old, a formula that works. Super effective attacks and not effective attacks, along with critical hits. I got into I started getting interested in Pokemon, professional Pokemon tournaments when I got into Sword and Shield, and was surprised how deep and sophisticated Pokemon is from a professional view. However, most people won't take this game seriously, and that's where, by seriously I mean professionally, and that's where another gameplay issue comes to play: the difficulty. First, I said with Hop that he is not a competent trainer, and this applies to many of the in-game trainer battles. There are only a handful of battles that challenged me, but they weren't really challenging at all. Along with one problem that has carried over since Gen 6, the EXP share. EXP share does not benefit anyone in the slightest. Taking away the reward of training your Pokemon and beating a hard battle, It is not a good thing. For people who want a genuine experience and feel rewarded, it's not good. You can literally one-shot the majority of your enemies with super effective moves, and gym leaders can quickly be washed once you combine your super effective Pokemon with Dynamax. You see, I like Dynamax. It is a very cool concept that works. Your Pokemon literally becomes busted and can overpower anything in its way, and the same goes for your opponent's Pokemon when they use them. However, I do not think that it is balanced in terms for your opponent. As a regular Pokemon, your super effective can still one-shot Dynamax Pokemon, which is completely unreal. And I don't think it's at the fault of the game being like that, but rather due to how easy it is to level up, along with incompetent trainers. Where Dynamax does shine are in the raid battles, where you get to fight alongside 3 other trainers to beat a Dynamax Pokemon, and with the difficulties of these raid battles ranging from 1 star to 5 stars. Now, this is a very fun aspect of the game, and hear me now, if you have friends to do this with. If you play with the AI, get ready to see Marty Solrock use Cosmic Power repeatedly, which really does hammer home my critique of the game being filled with incompetent trainers. For the catching, it's the usual stuff you'd expect. But there's one more crucial thing that is that Pokemon can now appear in the overworld for you to catch, and combined with some random encounters which can be avoided by walking past those patches of grass, it's pretty cool. So yeah, I like the changes, and this combined with one atmospheric aspect, which I'll get into next, makes catching Pokemon feel amazing and doesn't get old. So it's the same Pokemon formula with glaring flaws. We can be very happy about how great catching and finding Pokemon is, along with the sheer greatness of Dynamax Pokemons. On the other hand, the world is filled with incompetent trainers. I've said incompetent way too many times, but it's true. And the EXP shear helps you make the strongest being in the world, which is not cool in terms of immersion and gameplay wise, and I feel the gameplay is not what it could be, and I'm quite disappointed with battling in general. There is one thing that goes hand in hand with the Pokemon in the overworld, and that is the newly introduced wild areas. Wild areas are what you get when you combine open world with Pokemon, an area where you can see wild monsters in their full sizes, for the most part, and battle and capture them. This is what many people had hoped to see in Pokemon, and behold, here we are. This wild area is very good at immersing you into the Galar region, and that new Pokemon that inhabit this region are great, with some standouts like Duraludon, a literal metal dragon type skyscraper. It's just a good feeling to ride your bike right past the Dusk Noir or see a Butterfree flying around, and then some wild Pokemon chase you down when they spot you, and quite a few can outrun you on foot. Sticking to these wild areas, the towns are, well, not wild areas, locations as a whole, the towns are all unique in their own senses, meaning that they all seem like they could be in completely different regions, the usual Pokemon City thing. But now we need to talk about the flaws of Sword and Shield's atmosphere. Atmosphere is reliant on graphics, what you see before your eyes. To be frank, it's not bad per se, but rather lazy. Pop-in is ridiculous in many instances. In the early game, you can be cycling around fast and whoops, a level 60 Hippowdon attacks your level 15 Scorbunny. This can lead to some infuriating moments when you run into a Pokemon that you don't want to run into. I know we must mention that trees do look poor, but in the grand scheme of things, it's the Pokemon that matter, and these are lazily animated. We've all seen the clip of the Wingull flying around and moves its body 180 degrees without any animation to change direction. It's these small animations that break immersion constantly, but the battles are where the faults lie at the most. So many of the Pokemon do the same motion, same animation that looks quite dumb and sometimes out of place, like how all the Pokemon look when they do the Tail Whip attack. People can complain that the Switch's hardware is the problem, but for the console that can run Metroid Dread, Breath of the Wild, and Super Mario Odyssey, this should not be an excuse. But it isn't all bad. The music here is Pokemon music, meaning that it is good and very enjoyable. Not the best, but good. However, the battle music paired with the gym leader battles, that right there is something else. In the gym leader battles, you can hear the crowd chants, and combined with the battle music, this brings the atmosphere to a completely different level that we haven't seen in previous games. However, these are only heard in the battle against the gym leaders themselves, meaning that any other normal battle, they are not present. The best track in the game is hands down the Battle Tower track that Toby Fox, the creator of Undertale, composed. Overall, Sword and Shield take many right steps towards creating a better Pokemon environment and experience, but the ways that they get there make them fall short and make the problems stand out more than the positives. But acknowledging the positive aspects shows lots of potential for future titles. I won't say much on the story because A, this is a Pokemon story, and B, this is the weakest Pokemon story to date in my opinion. Compared to the grand epics of Gen 3 and Gen 5, this is not good. Trying to create a twist of sorts which can be seen from many, many oceans away. Even before putting in the cartridge in to play the game, you could probably make a guess about what the twist is that they're going to pull. Pokemon stories constantly get a 6 or 7 out of 10 rating in terms of story, simply being decent, except for Gen 4 and 5, that rank higher for making the stakes higher, and Gen 5 putting morality into the story. Gen 5 story should be what Pokemon stories should be, but this one in Sword and Shield gets a 3 out of 10. There are no high stakes, and when the game tries to do so, it feels out of place due to the inconsistent tone throughout. Along with the characters, there are very few redeeming characters in this game that help push anything forward or make you happy seeing them. Leona and Sonia are the only two characters here, and it is sad that these are the only two good ones. Sword and Shield try to develop the other ones, but they come off as poorly written and generic. I'm disappointed here as the lore that they try to set up is cool and interesting, and along with the Legendaries, some more characters could have been written a bit better, and maybe the story would have been a bit more enjoyable, but ultimately ends up forgettable. The base game's postgame is also no good. You must fight against two of the, I kid you not, dumbest looking antagonists ever. And another thing that is the box legendary is also caught in this arc, which kind of felt off a bit, as you usually have the legendary for the Pokemon League, but I see this as they try to balance the league so that you won't wash the competition. Overall, lackluster and poor, but there is one saving grace. This has been a pretty mediocre Pokemon game so far. Many positives and many negatives, which ultimately makes it a 5 out of 10, maybe pushing into 6 out of 10 on a good day, but overall in the okay category. There's a lot of fun to be had here, but as a general Pokemon experience, it is subpar in a lot of aspects. However, Game Freak had a phenomenal idea to make DLC for this game, and this was the best move they could have done, literally ever. This DLC took all the good from Sword and Shield, fleshed it out, and made it great. They made small, interesting stories with good characters that might be a bit too short, but it's DLC, so that makes sense. They brought back many favorite Pokemon and brought back following Pokemon in the overworld, which you can see in the wild areas. Along with making along with making two massive wild areas that are all varied and filled with amazing areas. It is so much fun to have here, an adventure around, capturing the Pokemon, doing fun side quests, going on Dynamax hunts, looking for the legendary Pokemon, battling the main battles. This is all a step in the right direction for the next mainline game. If we are to get the next gen Pokemon game anytime soon, many foundations from the DLC should and need to be taken with them, because the Isle of Armor and Crown Tundra DLC was simply put one of the best Pokemon experiences to play to date. The Pokemon franchise and the games always bring discussion, for a simple reason, as it is that many people have treasured memories from the franchise, from the games to watching the anime. This game is safe yet ambitious, trying to appease everyone by either simplifying or adding new changes. Sometimes they stick the landing, or fall off the mat completely, but often Sword and Shield manages to stumble their way to a landing of sorts. The game was mostly okay, and that is cool since Pokemon is not meant to be the next God of War or Final Fantasy. However, having had a history of trying to be ambitious and making it work, this seems to be a demake of the sorts, but that is where the DLC comes in to save the day. I can recommend playing the game with the DLC, as the DLC in my opinion is essential to this reason, and the experience that it offers, and which is why Pokemon Sword and Shield is ultimately a good game with flaws combined with the DLC, but a foundation that can be taken with it to the next generation of Pokemon to make sure that the next games will be much better than what this is. Okay, hey guys, I hope you enjoyed another Storm experience. Pokemon is a franchise that means a lot to me, and I hope that the 9th generation turns out great. But yeah, leave a like and comment and subscribe for more. Now I'll get to writing some more Storm experiences on games such as Resident Evil Village, Max Payne, Portal, and Sonic Forces. Yeah, those are all that I have in the works. In which order they come out, I have no clue yet, but yeah, with that, have a good rest of your day, buenas noches, and Storm out.